Intelligence is not everything. Shocking unpopular opinions from the strangers all around you. It is gross to dress kids like they are adults. It's super popular nowadays to dress kids, particularly young girls, like they're 26 years old coming home from the club. Crop tops, ripped skinny jeans, chunky sneakers, etc. It's just nasty and cringe. Why do you want your 3-year-old to look like a sorority girl? It's actually not cute. Same goes for boys dressed in Timberlands and gold chains, but girls are objectified the most anyway. And even aside from that, it's just dumb. Kids should be dressed like kids. Period. They should be wearing things that are fine to get dirty and torn and weren't made for much besides making sure they aren't running around naked. Online toxicity is worse now than it was back in the Xbox 360 era. Everyone who played online video games in the years 2007 to 2010 can tell you about the reputation that Call of Duty lobbies had. All kinds of insults and slurs were thrown around, and it even got to the point where people would get creative with their insults. This was actually pretty funny if you were in the mood. But today? There is no more getting creative with insults or hearing jabs you've never heard before. Nowadays people just straight up give you detailed information on how to harm yourself, or how members of your family would be better off in the ground. Or even worse, they DDoS you and tell you your own address. It genuinely boggles my mind when I read people say things like, "Oh, you would never survive in the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies." Bro, at this point I would prefer those lobbies to the things we get nowadays. Bacon does not belong on a hamburger. I love bacon, really I do. Bacon makes most things so much better, but it crosses a line when bacon is put onto a delicious juicy cheese or hamburger. The crispy, overcooked bacon often ruins the hamburger experience by adding an unneeded tough and crunchy texture to an otherwise deliciously soft juicy mouthful of hamburger, cheese, bun, sauces and toppings. Keep bacon off the burgers. Somebody replied, "I agree now that I think about it. The bacon is always too chewy and greasy and you end up pulling the entire slice out of the burger with one bite." Mushrooms and Swiss all the way. They know how to take it apart appropriately, but then again, sandwiches, burgers and burritos that fall apart are a big pet peeve of mine. Like, get your act together, your packaging is your main selling point. I absolutely do not care about anything related to Star Wars. For quite some time, I have seen a lot of posts on social media and Reddit about all the recent installments of Star Wars that Disney has been churning out, and I cannot tell you how mind-numbingly boring it is to me. As a kid born in the 80s, I remember being reasonably interested in the original Star Wars movies, and then completely underwhelmed by the prequels. Perhaps this accounts for my general malaise towards the recent onslaught from Disney, but I just can't fathom why this franchise is still pulling such a large audience. It seems to me that the saga has run its arc, and that there are so many other stories of science fiction, adventure or fantasy that would make great motion pictures. At the very least, please can all of Reddit just stop with all the memes and reaction posts about The Mandalorian or whatever other terrible Star Wars movie Disney is trying to ram down consumers' throats? I was so disappointed when George Lucas sold the rights to Disney a few years back, but hey, Hollywood is a business like any other, I guess, right? Keep wringing that thing out until it turns to dust. Too many people view hobbies as a way to impress others. Hobbies are not tools used to impress others. Too many people think hobbies have to be something cool or useful to society, like surfing, rock climbing, playing tennis, painting, etc. As a result, when people try to pick up a new hobby, they only limit themselves to what others consider cool. However, watching TV is also a hobby. Enjoying online shopping is also a hobby. Enjoying clubbing or bar hopping is also a hobby. Whatever you like to do in your free time is your hobby. I remember arguing with this idiot on Reddit a year ago about whether or not hiking was a hobby. She said hiking or walking wasn't a hobby because it required zero skill, and anyone could just walk around. Like, of course, that is literally not the definition of a hobby. Motorcycles should not be street legal. Motorcycles are more dangerous than cars or trucks. Public highway safety codes and other industry standard safety features exist for a reason. Cars have seatbelts, bumpers, airbags, hazard lights and double signals. It is easier to see a car, and if you impact it, the damage to life and limb is less. Motorcycles basically exist as a giant middle finger to all known vehicle safety standards. It's like the lawmakers said, we think highway safety is serious and want to safeguard against serious injury under penalty of law by doing A, B, and C, unless you just want to toss the rules out. If people want to ride them around on private courses, then fine, but they shouldn't be on the public highways and streets. What's more is that almost every time I see a motorcyclist, they are doing something reckless like that, revving around and speeding, lane swapping like they are in a race, etc. So it isn't like the drivers have any sort of special or extra driving training or are extra cautious. They are at least as bad as everyone else, or maybe worse. Strawberries are disappointing. I'm from Nigeria, and I grew up in Nigeria. We don't have a lot of strawberries, and people don't eat them a lot. When I watched Western shows and movies, strawberries were always portrayed as this sweet or very delicious fruit. So when my mom surprised us with strawberries one day, I was so excited to try them. I was hyped, then I had one and was seriously disappointed. They weren't sweet at all. They were a bit sour and mediocre at best. I moved to America recently and decided to give them another try, with the hope that maybe what I tried in Nigeria wasn't as good as the ones over here, or maybe I tasted the wrong kind. But nope, they were still not good, and that honestly sucks. I really want to like them, but that clearly isn't going to happen. Somebody replied, AFK here, I feel the same way about watermelon. It looks so tasty. It is so colorful. And it's so much fun to cut up. But as soon as you start eating it, it tastes of nothing. I want to like it so badly, I have gone back to it time and time again. But every time it still lets me down. Commute time to and from work should be considered paid time. Why do we have to spend money and our time to get to and from where we work? We're not at home doing what we want to do with our own personal time. We're going to and from work. So, why wouldn't that be considered work time? I'd say between getting to work, working 8 hours, and getting home, most people are doing work-related tasks for 10+ hours a day. But only get paid for 8. Other developed countries at least pay for employees to use public transport to get to work. But the US doesn't, because we have basically no public transport. Instead, we are all required to buy and maintain a $40 K plus vehicle and fuel it for $100 plus a week, just to get to our job and pay for it. Is it just me, or does something need to change? Somebody replied, I think that's a good thing. Part of the problem with this country is that people are being priced out of the communities they work in. The jobs where they live don't pay enough to live there, and the jobs that do pay enough don't pay enough to live close to them. People are being forced to commute. At first it would hurt people who don't live close to better jobs, but hopefully over time it would force policy to shift to making communities more integrated economically. If this happened, you'd probably get a new job. Or jobs might even start helping with moving costs. It incentivizes people to use more environmentally friendly means of transportation. Hiking is the worst outdoor activity. Hiking has almost no redeeming qualities. It's boring, who likes just walking? Dirty, and on top of that, if you're out of breath, it makes it difficult to hold conversation with people you're hiking with. Don't get me wrong, I love exercise. I can even get behind trail running, but hiking is the worst outdoors activity. Somebody replied, while I can't agree that hiking sucks, it's not even as bad as hiking culture. 1. You don't really need to train. It's walking. If you're in decent shape and are excited about the hike, you'll be fine, even though you may definitely still get sore and exhausted. I've climbed a few 13ers in pretty bad shape. 2. The obsession with gear can get a little obnoxious. I don't want to hear you talk about gear. I've done 15 miles in gym shoes with a school backpack, no food, and a gallon of water. 3. I'm still on the fence about backpacking. Not because it doesn't sound fun, but because lugging a ton of stuff out to the woods doesn't sound fun. Lots of packing and unpacking and packing again. Terrible sleep. Can get expensive. 4. I don't want to hear you talk about how getting into nature and overcoming challenges made you a stronger person or whatever, like every adventure podcasts I've tried to stomach. Non-Americans view the US. the way Californians and New Yorkers view the rest of the country. I have ruffled feathers from everyone on this America lovers, hippies here in the Bay, super woke East Coasters, etc. But having traveled a bit in Europe and the Middle East, and being born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, I have come to the conclusion that the same way we coastal, primarily city folks, scrunch our noses at the large, homogeneous, disconnected and irrelevant Middle America. I have seen all those same reactions when I talk about the US as a whole when I've been abroad. It seems like for all the fascination we think the world has with the US, many from around the world see it as all the negative things that San Francisco and New Yorkers say about the Midwest. Grades do not actually reflect how smart someone is. As someone with pretty mediocre grades and in grade level classes, a lot of my friends who are in honors or AP classes and all have A's, they definitely treat me like the stupid friend. It's really irritating because I'm not even that stupid. I struggle to pay attention in class and am a bad test taker, so it's hard to get good grades, but I'm actually fairly smart. It's just annoying that people judge your intelligence based off of grades in classes where you learn nothing you'll need for the real world. Somebody replied, "Intelligence is not everything. It does not matter how smart you are if you cannot be bothered to apply that to life." I would rather hire someone of average intelligence that can pay attention and put in the work to learn things than a smart person that cannot be bothered to learn basic grammar. Yes, I realize there are exceptions. People with poor grades and poor grammar can be smart. However, first impressions are important, and the first impression employers have will be your grades, resume, and cover letter. If none of those are good, then most employers will throw your resume in the trash instead of trying to find the diamond in the rough. As a teacher, I always tell students that grades are the results of evidence of your understanding. You are correct in that someone can be extremely intelligent, but if they don't give me the evidence of it, they will not get a good grade. I have met smart kids who just have too much baggage going on in their lives and poor upbringing to get the work done. But if you want those grades, you have to provide proof by doing the work. Raising awareness is another term for not doing what needs to be done. During these last 15 years as an adult, I have noticed a pattern of people taking out their phones and putting up videos with the pretense of raising awareness. But to be fair, I feel it's becoming more of a trend to get virality and views excused by the raising awareness propaganda. Awareness was raised. Now what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. That's what I thought. Stop raising awareness that doesn't need to be raised or has already been raised. It's procrastination. Somebody replied, "My best friend and I were just talking about this. I am the person who just cuts out news stuff and current affairs. While she is the type to soak up all the bad the world has going on. My thought is I'm not going to do anything to change it, so it's just going to upset me for no reason." Her thought is people are suffering and it's the least she can do to hear their stories. I'll be a pessimist with you. In this day and age, you should only be raising awareness for causes locally and in person, because you need time to find all those people to inform. Online? You can Google who to call, what positions to fill out, which organizations to donate to, who to vote for, etc. Any issue you want to bring up online can come with a potential solution that you share with others. I'll be lenient towards children about this, though. But at 23, a black square or a rainbow in your profile does nothing. Go vote locally and donate your time to a cause. I wish that instead of releasing new phones with improved cameras, they would improve the built-in speaker. I don't care about having top quality pictures, but I listen to music constantly and would like to not have to carry around an additional Bluetooth speaker to not have awful sound quality. I'm not asking for something that would replace having a Bluetooth speaker. If I'm doing yard work, I'm gonna want my JBL speaker. If I'm out in public, I have headphones on. But I'm not bringing my Bluetooth speaker to work just to listen to it for 20 to 30 minutes while I count money or work on some mundane side task where I'm just sitting quietly room by myself sorting out different items. I just want the sound quality to be a bit better. I used to have a phone with two small JBL speakers on the top and bottom of the screen and it was the best. Except the rest of it was cheaply made and didn't last very long. You are not donating blood if you get paid for it. You are selling it. Definition of sell. Give or hand over something in exchange for money. In this scenario, you are giving your blood in exchange for money. That's not donating. That's selling. Definition of donate: to present as a gift, grant, or contribution. Make a donation of, as to a fund or cause. You are giving your blood, of course. Your blood is like a gift. But when you gift something, do you expect to get paid for it? No. You don't. So you're not donating your blood if you get paid for it. You are selling it. Edit: when I say blood, I mean blood plasma. Sorry. If you get paid for donating blood plasma, you're selling it, not donating it. People shouldn't be allowed to share their sob story on competition shows, Who's Got Talent, Blown Away, or any other show. Contestants on shows shouldn't be able to cry and try to win favor with the audience, judges, whoever. It's cringe AF. Everybody has problems. I don't care if your husband died of cancer. I don't care if you're gay and your family disowned you. I don't care if your dad was abusive. I don't care if you lost a limb in Iraq. I don't care if you are homeless and your homeless dog died. I don't care if you sneezed and your colon fell out. Everybody has problems. There are so many problems that nobody can possibly take them all in or care about most of them. Stop pretending that your problems are any worse than their problems, or that your problems somehow make you more worthy to win. What I do care about is, can you do the thing that you are competing in? I'm sick and tired of having to sit through people's sob stories, when all I want to see is if they can successfully balance 29 plates on the ends of 27 poles. Shows like these only encourage the viewers to adopt a victim persona, where all of a sudden their problems are supposed to mean anything to other people, who are already dealing with their own problems. Adults should be allowed to own kids' toys without any judgment from other people. I want to own many interesting toys that I find at the store, especially the ones I didn't have as a child. Nobody should judge me and make statements like, "Are you 8?" I went to a friend's place and the kids' toys were hella awesome and interesting. I wish I could play with them as a 24-year-old without kids. I was dancing while talking to the dancing cactus and I got pretty judgmental looks. I wish this would stop. I was only having fun. Somebody replied, "My husband has a whole Nerf arsenal. And everyone at his work has one in their desks because Nerf wars break out and you have to defend yourself." These are not young kids. At 42 my husband is the youngest civilian. These are retired chiefs, master chiefs, etc. I swear that sailors are just overgrown children in disguise. I would rather work a 7-3 job than a 9-5 job. Right, what it says in the title. I would rather get up early and work from 7 AM to 3 PM than work a standard 9-5. Why? Because even though I have to get up earlier, when I get off work, and I need to do things, most things are still open at 3. From the postal service to a local store. Getting up earlier in the day, you're not missing much other than the sunrise. You get to avoid most terrible traffic. And when you get off work, there's still plenty of daylight left to do extra activities. Added benefit, because it's so early in the evening when you get off, you usually don't feel nearly as drained as you would coming from a 9-5. Giving cash to homeless people is more helpful than giving them food. I am regularly berated for this, but I keep seeing posts from people complaining that homeless people aren't properly thankful when given a banana or a loaf of bread when they are panhandling. If they are in need and are homeless, then cash is the way to help. Nobody knows their needs better than the person with needs. Maybe they need money for a prescription or a hotel room or a new tent or any number of things. If people don't want to give money, then it makes sense to ask, "Can I give you food instead?" If the answer is no thanks, then give nothing or give money. The concern is always that the money will be used for drugs or alcohol, but why? If you want to give, then who are you to judge how it's used? Also, if drugs or alcohol can provide a suffering human with a small amount of temporary respite in this world, what is wrong with that? Thank you for watching till the end. Do you have any of your own unpopular opinions to share? What did you think of these ones? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to be kept up to date with my daily videos.